for the younger generation, for the younger generation, on the foundation.
Welcome once more to this educative program called You Drive, broadcast over Foundation Radio FM 100. Today we are out to present our third edition of You Drive on Civicus World Assembly. So our concern this week is entitled Social Justice, Drive for Lasting Change. What is social justice? How can social justice be the remedy to humanity pressing and current problems? To have answers to all those questions, dear listeners, I would like you to stay tuned to this program in order to have more information about this issue called social justice. My name is Bukenina, and in this studio, I am with my colleague Sandrine Achu.
Good afternoon, distinguished listeners. It feels so good to be back after a long time having to deliver to you very interesting talks. As Nina said earlier, we are continuing with a series of shows on Civicus World Assembly. Our third edition is Social Justice, Drive for Lasting Change. The previous shows were respectively on the presentation of Civicus World Alliance for Citizen Participation and the introduction to the 2012 Civicus World Assembly. Dear listeners, I will permit you to sit comfortably now and listen to our first musical piece. It is Your Love by Nicki Minaj.
Enjoy. Wow. Welcome back into the studio. Dear listeners of You Drive, our today's topic is termed Social Justice, Drive for Lasting Change. Before we start with any discussion, I find it convenient to define the concept social justice. Personally, social justice means equal rights and opportunities, irrespective of ethnic origin, gender, possessions, race, and religions for everyone. So, social justice has to do with equal rights and opportunity, as I'm saying. And you, Sandrine, what do you think is social justice?
Yeah, I think social justice has to do with understanding human rights and the opportunities that have to be offered to each and everyone based in a particular society. Social justice is exercised within a society, particularly as it is exercised by and among the various social classes of that society. A socially just society is based on the principles of equality and solidarity. It understands and values human rights and recognizes the dignity of every human being. Social justice is based on the concepts of human rights and equality. That means giving to each person what that person deserves, no matter what that's, not taking into consideration where that person comes from, what the person does, or who the person is.
That is so interesting, Sandrine. Thank you so much. Dear listeners, our objective of today's show is to discuss how social justice can contribute in the development process. Because we know that we are living in Africa, and especially in Cameroon, where we used to complain that we are recognized as a developing country. And what differentiates all is the fact that we are living in poverty and other pressing issues that affect us here in Africa. So talking about social justice is a means for us to understand what are actually the things that make us to not to progress in life. It's a problem. That's why we are here today in the studio to find out what can actually be the reason why some people are living good life compared to others. So social justice concept was brought out from the fact that people in our communities and around the world are victims of injustice. So what do you think are the factors of social injustice? Because you cannot talk about social justice without mentioning social injustice. So what is social injustice, and what are the characteristics of social injustice, Sandrine?
Okay, having said that, social justice has to do with equal opportunities and given to each person what that person deserves. We will then be saying that social injustice is the opposite of this. That means because somebody is not somehow, because somebody does not come from somewhere, because somebody is not maybe from a particular tribe, he is deprived of certain facilities in the society. For example, we could take a situation in which maybe, as Nina mentioned, education in a school environment, maybe where the enrollment is a popular school enrollment, people scramble, and you find yourself in a situation where the principal or the person in charge has to take only those people, maybe family members, people from the same tribe, and he doesn't really take into consideration how you performed maybe during the interviews, or he leaves out different criteria that he had to use to get students enrolled into that school. In that case, we see that that student is suffering. The student is a victim of social injustice because he doesn't come from somewhere. He is deprived of being in a school which he wants to be, even though he is qualified. Those are one of the examples of social justice I'm bringing to you.
Injustice or
social injustice.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, as you heard Sandrine saying, dear listeners, there are many things that we used to do that can be known as social injustice. We don't know whether it's intentionally or we do it only by mistake. But you have to know that. Let me take an instance in a family or in the house or in the home. When girls have call all the time to come and help the mother in the kitchen when she's preparing. When girls are always assigned to wash dishes, sweeping the house, making laundry, whereas boys are there in the other side, watching their television, playing football, doing some other things that actually is not helping in the daily life of the family. It shows that there's imbalance somewhere. It shows that girls are working, girls are like slaves. They're out to work, and boys are there to relax, and that is not normal. So that's an example of social injustice at the level of our houses or families. And adding to that, we also have in Cameroon, to take a general issue that we can call social injustice, we have corruption. We know that our military people are out here to secure our life by ensuring that we are in good security, or our rights is being protected. But at times I used to see situations whereby policemen are taking money to drivers in order to allow them. A driver lacks some documents. Instead of you punishing the driver, you prefer to take some money or some material things to leave the driver continue his road. And corruption can also be manifest in several ways. For instance, a child does not deserve to go to the next class, and the teacher or the principal of a school decide to make that child to pass because the parents of that child came and give some money to the school administration, and they allow the child to go. So there are many forms of social injustice, even at the level of employment. At the level of employment, for instance, women at times, even with their diplomas or certificate, when they go to look for jobs, they'll say that normally this woman is supposed to be in the house. This woman is supposed to get married and have her children. Or maybe if the woman is married and she's having all those children, they'll still complain no because of her gender, because she's a female. She does not deserve a particular post. So there's some type of small issue that we used to neglect that affect the way our economy, the way our development progress. And we want in this studio to have a voice. We have to hide our voice and tell all those people who used to make such intentional mistake or mistakenly doing some type of portraying some type of behaviors that violate our rights and opportunities, to stop doing so, because in fact we are all human beings and we have equal rights and opportunities. And then before we continue with the way social injustice is being manifested, we carry out an interview with some young people to know how they understand social justice. We have impressive talk from different young people that we want to share with you now. So dear listeners, let us listen to those interview. Before that interview, should we play, dear listeners? Sandy, maybe we should continue with some example of social injustice, because if we are able to identify what is social injustice, we'll be able to know how to come to social justice, because social justice came out because of social injustice. If there was no social injustice, we could have never heard people saying that social justice has done this or that. It's because of social injustice that the notion of social justice was brought out. And as we said at the beginning of this show, we are on this studio because of Civicus War Assembly. Civicus War Assembly is an international event that is being organized by Institut du Nouveau Monde in partnership with the Civicus War Alliance for Citizen Participation. So the Civicus War Alliance for Citizen Participation is out to promote social justice by encouraging civic participation in all the arenas of life in the nation in which that citizen is being found. Sandrine, how do you think poverty can be considered as social injustice?
We cannot really say that poverty is social injustice. There are many factors that lead to poverty. A youth could be fit for a job, because we don't talk about unemployment until you have what is necessary to be employed. And if this person is not employed and he resorts to poverty, then we can think that somehow he has not been given what he deserves. But poverty cannot really be seen as social injustice, because in one way or the other, every person can fend for himself, because you must not be employed by the government. That's why we talk about self-employment. So, talking about poverty as social injustice, I don't think it's really a point, because it all depends on why that person is poor, but which is not solely an excuse to be poor. But we all know that social justice is very important. For example, the Constitution of the International Labour Organization affirms that universal and lasting peace can only be established if it is based upon social justice. In this light, we all think that in eradicating social injustice in the various domains, be it at the big offices, be it within families, be it within in just the area where you live, your small society around you, what makes your world, then I think that in one way or the other we'll be moving towards that's a step forward as far as development is concerned.
Okay. Dear listener, the theme of the 2012 Civicus War Assembly this year is defining a new social contract, making the future together. Civicus War Alliance for Citizen Participation believes that this can be possible in three ways, which are changing nations through citizens, partnering for social innovation, and redefining the global governance. If you have to focus only on the theme of this year, we can understand that when we say defining a new social contract, making the future together, only that statement means a lot. Let us play another music track to relax your brain, and this time around is Justin Bieber in the title Next to You. Enjoy.
I am Kelvin Gwang Shemgong.
I am Mokom Philemon.
I am Achu Sanji. I'm Mokom Nova. I'm Mokom Sharon.
I am Yield Stober. I am Lance Weidstoff.
I'm Patient Agwenja. I'm Yvonne Frinwe Takwe.
I'm Tala Adama. Miss Mboringong Fideli. I am Achu Zwe.
You are listening to Youth Drive on Foundation Radio.
Listeners, you just got the Youth Drive slot. Youth Drive is out to educate and inform young people about the current and pressing issues affecting them, such as our topic of today, which is social justice, drive for lasting change. We can understand the message Civicus World Alliance is out to give through its 11th World Assembly, based on its core main objectives, which include civic existence, to promote the rights of citizens to organize and act collectively towards defined goals for the public good. Civic expression, to increase the effectiveness and improve the governance of civil society organizations, as well as their capacity to set and achieve their individual and collective goals. Civic engagement, to foster interaction between civil society and other institutions in order to increase the voice of citizens in public life. Again, dear listeners, I would like us to get the people's view as far as social justice is concerned. This will be gotten via the interviews conducted by Nina.
What do you think about social justice?
Yeah, I am Rene Chilindifo.
Talking about social justice, I want to think that social justice is a situation where everybody is supposed to be subjected to equal rights and things like that. Reason being that in our community we've been practicing some kind of segregation, wherein the gay child is not allowed to carry on certain activities and things like that. But with gender equality, I think some of those things have to be eradicated in order that everybody is integrated into the community where we live in.
Stanislas is my name. I want to think that social justice is a situation wherein some of us in the community are not treated the way, or some people are not treated the way they were supposed to be treated. That's what my own point of view about social justice. And I think in Cameroon situation, social justice mostly affects the women. In some communities, women don't go to school, especially the girl child. They are sent to early marriages. Some of them are even sent to do what we call house help jobs, and that embodies what we call social justice. So my own point of view is that the Cameroon setting, there's nothing like social justice. It's not practiced, especially with the girl child.
My name is Clarice. What I think social justice is all about is, like, when you talk of social justice, you mean the equality of rights. That is male and female, the poor or the rich, the working class or no working class. That is like you have your right as a citizen of the country to participate either in the development or in the activities or in the decision making of a country or a community or in a local community or a village.
Concerning social justice, I think is the aspect in which gender should be given equal rights. That's male and female. They should be given equal rights in this society.
Je m'appelle Tung Desmond. La justice sociale est tout ce qui est contre l'injustice sociale. Par exemple, au niveau des pays européens et africains. Lorsque les Africains partent en Europe, les Européens les critiquent toujours et les donnent de petits postes dans les entreprises. Comme solution, je pense que tous les hommes doivent respecter les droits de l'homme, parce que nous avons tous les mêmes droits.
Okay, thank you so much, dear listener, to listen to these interviews we carry with the young people, and it was so impressive to hear how young people aged between 11 and 21 years were giving their views. It means that social justice is something that everybody is feeling the impact. The positive impact, because this last child who said that social justice is the situation whereby when Africans live to Europe and they're maltreating them, they're giving them a low position in concerning jobs, they are not consider them in the same level like Europeans, and she found it illegal. For her, they have to change the situation because all of us, we are human beings and we have equal rights and opportunities. I'm very happy to hear that an 11 years old child can think that way. And what do you have to say concerning the interviews, Sandrine?
Yes, Dina, from the interviews, we got a series of people very bitter about gender. The first two people placed particular accent on the girl child. Someone mentioned the girl child in certain places, in certain regions in Cameroon, who is only left to do house chores, that she's not going to school, she's not considered equal to the male. She has little or nothing to contribute as far as decision making in that society is concerned. There I feel that there's really a high degree of social injustice. But I want to think that the march towards gender equality is really trying to handle most of this. But several people misinterpret gender equality that's like some people as a result of gender equality think that they can maybe disrespect the male or show that they are more powerful. But it's not all about that. It's more about equal opportunities, equal rights but also equal duties. Everybody should be able to do what the person should do and can do. That's what I think about the interviews.
Yes, I also got a young man saying that generally in some parts in Cameroon, especially in the north region, girls are exposed to early marriages. The thing I can say concerning early marriage at the level of the north region of Cameroon is that when an adolescent child is growing, that is a young girl, when she's growing, force her to get married to somebody who is 3 times older than her, and this shows clearly that at this situation the rights of that young girl is being violated. She does not have anything to say as far as here in Africa they always say that a good child is a child that obey, a good child is a child that respect. She cannot say no, I don't want to get married with this man. She can just accept and support all the burden that this situation is going to bring her into. So early marriages is a very crucial issue in the north region of Cameroon that we need to talk about. So Sandrine, social justice is a drive to sustainable development. If you want to have a sustainable development or a sustainable future, we should take into consideration every single action we used to portray in our community, because all the action we used to portray has an impact, has an effect on the way our success, on the way our progress as a developing nation can advance. So if you decide to maybe to give advantage to somebody that is coming from your village or from your tribe, instead of giving advantage to somebody who has his diploma, his certificate, how do you want the country to have a sustainable future? How do you want the poverty situation in the country to reduce when you are using a tribalism in your actions? So we should see all those type of small things that we used to do in our daily life that impact the way we live, that impact the poverty situation in our country. So what do you have to say concerning that, Sandrine?
Talking about tribalism in Cameroon, I'll just crave the indulgence of each and every one of us out there. There is very little about that is done to people who practice tribalism, especially down here at the lower levels. So it is left for each individual to know that he should give to every person what the person deserves, regardless of your tribe. It's not all about family or tribe, but the problem comes in where you give a particular position to somebody maybe from your tribe who is not qualified and doesn't handle it well. In that way, we are dragging the economy down the drain. So it's just all about every person being conscious and doing what is right.
Okay, so thank you so much, Sandrine. So dear listeners, you know that as we were saying at the beginning of this show, our topic this week is social justice, drive for lasting change. And this topic was brought out in connection with the 11th Civicus World Assembly that will take place in September 3rd to 7th in Montreal, Canada. And during that conference or that assembly, they're going to talk about 3 main issues. That is changing nations to rule citizens. That's the issue number 1 they're going to tackle there. Secondly, partnering for social innovation. And thirdly, redefining the global governance. And the theme of this 11th Civicus World Assembly this year is defining a new social contract, making the future together. How can a new social contract permit a sustainable future? So that's the question we should be asking each of us now. So when Civicus World Alliance for Citizen Participation said that they are going to define a new social contract and make the future together, what do you think? What are the idea behind this team?
Yeah, what I think is, given the fact that they want to make the change from the citizens, it has to do with what I just said earlier, that each individual has a part to play. And the world now, or can be defined more as bad than good in several domains. That's why I think that building a new social contract has to change the bads to goods. And I think that's what Civicus World Assembly has in mind.
Now that this in our context here in Cameroon, as we are mentioning since the beginning of this show, that the situation of our economy is caused by many factors that we embody as a social injustice. There are many factors that is putting us at the same level as time is passing and years are passing, but we are in the same spot because of social injustice. We mentioned the fact of tribalism, we mentioned corruption, we mentioned gender inequality or gender violence, we mentioned discrimination. In fact, there are many things that are making us to remain in the same spot, and the Civicus World Assembly is out to redefine a new social contract. That is to come out with new strategies on how citizens who are members of society, how can their voices be better heard in order to contribute in the development process. If you want the voices of citizens to be heard, we have to practice social justice, because social justice is a drive for lasting change. So, what do you have to say to conclude this show, Sandrine?
Yes, dear listeners, I want to think that the topic of today and all what we've had to discuss here in the studio is going to create an impact in you, such that through you who are listening, the message will be passed on to the rest of the people in your society, such that together we all can embark as far as making the change in the society is concerned. We are going to listen to the next musical piece, Forever by Chris Brown.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Listeners, we brought this topic today to you to make you have a different way of thinking, to make you change your behavior in the way you used to act in your community and your society, the environment in which you live. We hope that through this topic you are going to know what to do next, because social justice is what we need in order to access to full development in our country, starting in our local community. Thank you so much. So I would like Sandrine to read our contact in case you need any information concerning the Civicus World Assembly that will take place in Canada in the next few months. Thank you.
Youth Drive was brought to you by Youth Outreach Program. You can contact us via Facebook by searching for Youth Drive, or you can use our email address ydrive08@gmail.com. You can search for us on the web at www.youthdrive.blogspot.com or www.yopcam.org. If you want to get more information about Youth Outreach Program, our postal address is P.O. Box 5185, Bamenda, or you can visit our office, which is located at My One Junction, Bamenda. With you, dear listeners, has been me. I'm called Achu Sandrine.
I'm called Bukenina, and I would like to extend my greetings to my family members and all the volunteers in Youth Outreach Program Cameroon. Bye.
Okay, the fact that there has been mismanagement and some people have been arrested does not mean that the program is going to stop, because they did not start the program.